Right now, farmers are growing food in the world's deadest landscapes, and the method has nothing to do with finding water. China is farming inside the Taklamakan, called the Sea of Death. India feeds 25 million people on 3 rainstorms a year. Arizona ranchers are building topsoil in 127-degree heat with no irrigation. Everyone assumes desert farming requires massive water infrastructure. That assumption is bankrupting farmers and draining aquifers across the American West. The real solution was already working on the deadest terrain on Earth before anyone in modern agriculture bothered looking. Drop a comment. What does your hardest ground look like in August? In China's Xinjiang region, the Taklamakan was swallowing highways whole. Sand shifted. Roads disappeared overnight. Towns got buried. Chinese engineers faced a problem that seemed unsolvable. You can't plant anything in moving ground. You can't stabilize what won't stay still. So they stopped trying to fight it with water. Instead, they laid straw directly across shifting sand in grid patterns, squares pressed flat into the surface, breaking wind at ground level. The grid stopped movement entirely. Sand that had been migrating for decades held still. In Bachu County, automated machines wove durable reed mats across entire dune fields, creating income for local communities while anchoring acreage that no irrigation system could have reached. Once the sand stopped shifting, drought-resistant plants took root. Then something unexpected happened. Under those stabilizing plants grew Cistanche, a medicinal herb known as the ginseng of the desert, one of the highest value botanical products in Asian markets. Barren zones became productive areas generating jujubes, watermelons, and premium medicinal crops at the same time. In Bachu County, 540,000 solar panels were installed across dune fields, generating electricity for 430,000 people while physically shading the earth beneath them. The shade dropped surface temperatures. Lower heat reduced evaporative loss. That reduction allowed living activity to begin in Earth that had been functionally dead for decades. China built a 3,000-kilometer green shield around the entire perimeter. It generates 10 billion yuan annually in farming and energy output from land officially classified as non-productive 30 years ago. The lesson wasn't water management. It was movement management. Stop the sand from shifting first. Everything else follows. China wasn't the only place solving an impossible desert. On the other side of Asia, India faces a completely different version of the same challenge. The Thar is the most densely populated arid zone on Earth, 25 million people. Underground supply is as salty as the ocean and unusable. Annual storms arrive in 1 to 3 intense events, generating flash flooding that disappears within hours. A grassroots organization called Gravis, the Grameen Vikas Vijayan Samiti, spent decades working with our communities to formalize 3 traditional approaches that had kept those 25 million people alive through centuries of extreme scarcity. The first was strategic pond placement. Communities excavated large holding basins at the exact lowest points of natural drainage watersheds, catching flash flooding that would otherwise leave the property within hours and concentrating it in a single containment zone. If landscapes like this fascinate you as much as they fascinate me, stick around. There's a new one of these every week, and hitting subscribe means you won't miss where the story goes next. The second was plot-to-plot cascading. When a basin filled, overflow flooded into adjacent cultivation areas bordered by raised earth bunds. Each area became a shallow reservoir, holding incoming storm volume long enough for clay-rich earth to saturate deeply. Crops planted in that saturated profile grew for months after the last event. drawing on held subsurface reserve rather than any continuing storm supply. The third was the tanka, an underground chamber carved beneath household concrete catchment areas. A single 20,000-liter tanka supplied one family with clean drinking supply for over 5 months from a single monsoon event. No pump, no filter beyond sand layers, no ongoing cost. 3 approaches. No irrigation infrastructure. 25 million people fed and watered in an arid zone receiving 3 storms per year. Here's the pattern connecting every successful arid land farming approach documented across 3 continents. None of them fought the landscape's defining limiting factor. They worked with it. China's limiting factor was moving sand. The straw checkerboard worked with it, stopping movement before attempting any living intervention. India's their limiting factor was intense but rare precipitation. The basin, cascade, and tanker approach worked with it, capturing every drop of those rare events and distributing the volume across the longest possible window. In southwest Arizona's Oman Flats Ranch, land receiving under 4 inches annually, with surface readings hitting 127 degrees Fahrenheit. Farmers Dax Hansen and Yadi Wong identified their specific barrier, oxidized crust blocking all living activity in the earth. They didn't irrigate it. They grazed it. Mob grazing, concentrated herds moving quickly across specific zones, used animal hooves to physically break the hardened surface. Hoof impact open channels for organic function. Deposited manure jump-started microbial populations that hadn't operated in years. Native mesquite trees planted across the property created multi-layered canopy that dropped ground readings significantly, cutting atmospheric evaporative loss to near zero while producing harvestable mesquite pods milled into high-value gluten-free flour. By keeping living plant systems in the growing medium year-round, never leaving bare earth exposed, Hansen and Wong built measurable topsoil from scratch on acreage that had been sterile for years. The principle across all 3 locations was identical. Identify the specific barrier making the landscape hostile. Remove that barrier using whatever the environment already provides: straw, animal impact, plant canopy. Once the barrier is gone, natural recovery begins on its own. No aquifer required. No imported infrastructure. Just understanding what the land needs changed and changing it. But here's where this method comes with a warning label. Before concluding that every barren landscape should simply be converted at scale, the science raises a critical warning. Earth's systems connect in ways that make large-scale arid land conversion genuinely dangerous. Dark vegetation absorbs significantly more solar radiation than reflective sand, a phenomenon called the albedo effect. Converting the Sahara at full scale would increase heat absorption across North Africa, potentially warming regional atmospheric patterns in ways that cascade globally. More surprisingly, Saharan dust carries 22,000 tons of phosphorus annually across the Atlantic to the Amazon rainforest, fertilizing the world's largest tropical forest with nutrients it cannot produce internally. If the Sahara converted to vegetation, that phosphorus transport would stop. The Amazon, dependent on that external input for centuries, would face nutrient collapse. The lesson isn't that arid land farming is wrong. It's that scale and location determine whether a technique heals a landscape or destabilizes one far away. The confirmed successes: China's Taklamakan Shield, India's Gravis Systems, Arizona's Oman Flats Ranch, all operate at human scales within damaged acreage. They restore function to degraded zones without altering the broader planetary role those landscapes play. That distinction matters for any landowner looking at damaged dryland property right now. The question isn't whether to restore it. The question is which specific barrier is making your specific acreage unproductive. and what the environment already provides to remove that barrier without importing infrastructure from outside. Straw stops moving sand. Basins capture flash flooding. Animal impact breaks hardened crust. Canopy drops surface temperature. Different landscapes. Different barriers. Different removals. Same result across every case. Natural recovery beginning the moment the limiting factor stops operating. The land isn't dead. It's waiting for the right removal. China stopped the sand from shifting first. India captured 3 storms and stretched them across 5 months. Arizona broke hardened crust with animal hooves and planted shade. None of them fought the landscape. They removed what was blocking it. Your land is waiting for the same thing. If you want to see which barrier is holding back the next piece of dead ground, subscribe. That's exactly where this channel goes next.